Hello guys, welcome to another quick news video. This time I want to talk a little bit about the new animated series that was announced. Well, it was announced back in 2019, but we first got a premise, a premiere date, and some art about it, and it's called Housebroken. And Housebroken will premiere Monday, May 31st at 9 o'clock on Fox. Yes, that is right. Animation Domination is now expanding to Mondays. So, in addition to your typical mainstays like Simpsons, Family Guy, and Bob's Burgers, you have Housebroken and Season 2 of Duncanville coming to Fox during the summer. And this summer, they're expanding to Mondays with series premiere of Housebroken on May 31st at 9 o'clock p.m. followed by Season 2 of Duncanville at 9:30. And the special Season 2 episode of Duncanville will air Sunday, May 23rd. And it will be like a two-part episode. There's a Parks and Rec crossover, and I'll go a little bit into it later on in this video. I'm going to talk about Housebroken first. So, featuring the voices of Lisa Kudrow, Tony Hale, and Will Forte, animated sitcom Housebroken follows a group of neighborhood pets and stray animals as they work through their issues inside and outside of their therapy group. Honey, who is voiced by Lisa Kudrow, who's best known for her, her role in Friends, the hit NBC sitcom. Honey is a standard poodle who opens up her living room for the group to come and support each other through the misery, mayhem, and majesty that is being a pet. And yes, all these animals do talk. Honey also struggles with her own problems, such as her arranged by her human owner marriage with Chief, a sloppy St. Bernard dog who enjoys eating socks and licking himself. And Chief is voiced by Nat Faxon. Shell, who's voiced by Will Forte, is a sex-positive tortoise with intimacy issues and a knack for choosing unconventional partners. Tabita, I think that's how you say it, she's voiced by Sharon Horgan, who did Dagmar and Disenchantment, an aging Persian cat beauty queen trying to adjust to life off the cat show circuit. Jason Mantzoukas, he voices the gray one, who's a street smart cat who lives with about 30 other cats and has his one eye on Tabitha. Chico, who's voiced by Sam Richardson, is a chunky, codependent, and very naive cat, and the group's newest member. Diablo, who's voiced by Tony Hale, is an anxious, sweater-wearing terrier whose OCD causes him to hump everything twice. And among the group's other members, the other recurring characters, so these aren't part of the main cast, are Elsa, who's voiced by Clea Duvall, Nibbles, who's voiced by Brescia Webb, Max, who's also voiced by Tony Hale, Bubbles, who's voiced by Greta Lee, and Tahachki, I think that's how you say it, Tahachki, a silent and possibly magical slow lord with a mysterious past who uses his tiny cocktail umbrella to express his emotions. And Honey and Chief's human owner is Jill, whose guest voice is Maria Bamford. If we're gonna go a little more into the guest characters, Elsa is a power-hungry know-it-all corgi and fake service dog who drives Honey nuts. Nibbles is a psychopathic hamster who's mourning the loss of her mate, who everyone in the show knows she ate his face. Max, George Clooney's pig, is a former actor and current status-obsessed asshole. And Bubbles is the horny teenage goldfish who lives with Honey and Chief and heckles the animals with every chance she gets. Housebroken is a irreverent look at human behavior, but it's told through the filter of an offbeat group of neighborhood pets. Throughout the series, this show will center on the pets' dysfunctional relationships and their skewed worldviews, while also exploring relevant societal issues in fun and unique ways. I am totally looking forward to the show now. Before I wasn't too sold on it, but I think this show could be really fun. And I'm not saying that because I like animation on Fox, because there have been shows that on this block that I have absolutely disliked. Alan Gregory, obviously, that's a show that a lot of people dislike. I hated Bordertown. That was just a lazy, terrible show. The Cleveland show was fine. It was just mediocre, but it never really did anything for me. I never saw the ADHD block, but I did see High School USA, and that was terrible. So I mean, I'm not gonna go bother and watch the rest since Fox already canceled the block. But and then I'm not a fan of that type of humor. I know Fox might upload some ADHD to their YouTube. I am absolutely not a fan of that type of humor at all. It just doesn't click for me. I'm a very story plot-driven type of person. You know, I like comedy, but story comes first for me. And you know, those ADHD, there were jokes before story, and that does not click for me. And you know, even that type of humor doesn't click for me either. Most of it is stoner comedy. It just doesn't click for me. But you know, now I see this, I don't think it's gonna be really a stoner comedy anymore. That was my original thought at first, but now that I'm looking to it, I actually think this show's could be really good. You know, I just hope that it doesn't replace any of the other shows on the block, and it's merely just a new addition. Because, you know, I would love for all these shows to continue. You know, there's a lot of talented people. I don't want anyone to be losing their jobs, stuff like that. I don't think it would be fair to try to replace, you know, say, if we replace Bless the Hearts with Housebroken, and we replace Duncanville with Dan Harmon's show. You know, I don't think that's fair. I feel like the network should give all the new shows, you know, at least 3 seasons before they decide, hey, you know, okay, this show isn't, you know, performing the way we wanted it. You know, people haven't been sold on it by season 3, because, you know, like, you know, I know season 2s are always better, but, you know, sometimes I feel like even season 2 isn't really enough, because, you know, while the show may go up in quality, they still may have not found their solid fan base quite yet. And, you know, Bob's Burgers didn't find its fan base until maybe season 4 or 5. Like, if we went back to 2012 or 2013, almost nobody talked about Bob's Burgers. You know, but because Fox kept renewing it, they forced it on the air. Eventually, it built its audience, and look where it is now. So, you know, pretty much all these shows, I think they can eventually find audiences. It's just really a matter of how long the network is willing to give it another chance. And I feel like that could be the make or break between, you know, a successful show and a flop. Because, you know, yes, there are shows that do flop after 1 season. Alan Gregory is one of those. There was literally no potential in that show. I didn't see it. Same with Bordertown. Those shows just flop. But you know, I could see something more with their new shows that are coming up. You know, I really dig the Great North. I did a video on the Great North, like a spoiler-free review, that kind of thing. You know, for those who haven't checked it out, I did a quick video on that. I'm sure you'll dig it. I think Duncanville and Blessed Hearts are solid shows. Yeah, they're a lot better than the shows that came out before. And I think this will be a good show too. Now, Dan Harmon's show, I'm a little skeptical about, but you know, it has his name on it, so you know, he's a really funny guy. So I'm sure that show will work too. So yeah, I'm excited for Housebroken. And now I'm gonna go into Duncanville. So from Emmy Award and Golden Globe winner Amy Poehler and Emmy Award winners Mike Scully and his wife Julie Scully, Duncanville follows a spectacularly average 15-year-old boy, his family, and his friends. In Duncanville, Duncan, who's voiced by Amy Poehler, can see adulthood on the horizon: money, freedom, cars, and girls. But the reality is more like always being broke, driving with your mom who's sitting next to you on shotgun, and babysitting your little sister. Duncan is not exceptional, but he does have a wild imagination in which he's never anything less than amazing. Amy Poehler also voices Duncan's mother, Annie, and Ty Burrell voices Duncan's father, Jack. The series also features the voices of Emmy Award nominee Ricky Lindholm as Duncan's 12-year-old sister, Kimberly, and Rashida Jones as Mia, Duncan's on and, you know, off crush, you know. He has feelings for her, she just thinks of him as a friend. Wiz Khalifa, yes, Wiz Khalifa's in Duncanville. He's Mr. Mitch, the teacher, Duncan's main teacher in Oakdale High School. And Joy Osmansky voices Jing, Duncan's, I guess she's 6 now. She was 5. Well, I guess maybe they'll celebrate her birthday, I think. Yeah, so she's Duncan's 6-year-old adopted sister, and Betsy Sodaro, Yasir Lester, and Zach Cherry voice Duncan's friends, who are Bex, Yangzi, and Wolf. And Duncanville will have a special season 2 premiere airing. It's a 1-hour special airing Sunday, May 23rd at 8:30. The Harris family takes their first vacation. There's also a Parks and Recreation sort of animated crossover with Adam Scott, Aubrey Plaza, and Nick Offerman making guest voice appearances. And yes, Amy Poehler does voice Leslie Knope in this special. So we'll be expected to see animated versions of them, which will be pretty cool. And this is, of course, thanks to Universal Television, because Universal Television owns Duncanville. They also own Parks and Recreation. There was no legal problem going into this crossover. So you can thank Duncanville for being co-owned by Universal Television that this is happening. If Duncanville was not owned by Universal Television, I highly doubt this would happen. So yeah, there are other storylines in season 2 include Duncan saying the one thing no kid should ever say to their dad, which shifts their power dynamic. Duncan and Kimberly get sent to therapy camp. Jing and Jack start a child birthday band together, with Annie managing them and Duncan racing stock cars. So I'm pretty excited for season 2. I think it's going to be better than the first. There's at least 13 episodes we have looking forward to. I think Duncanville season 2 is going to be a lot better. I thought season 1 was solid, but didn't quite hit just yet for me. I have a friend who really loves the show, but it hasn't really quite hit for me. I think it's solid. It's a solid show, Some good episodes, some poor ones, but Mike Scully and Amy Poehler are funny people, I'm pretty sure they're just, they're trying to see what works and what doesn't. And I think that's why season 2 of the show is going to be far better than season 1. And I have a lot of faith, in Mike Scully, he show ran 4 seasons of classic Simpsons, so I have a lot of faith in him. He's a funny guy. So is Amy Poehler's a funny comedian. So yeah, are you excited for Duncanville? Are you excited for Housebroken? Are you excited for a second Annie Dawn lineup? I feel like Fox is going to see how this does before they make a decision on Bless the Hearts. Because, as far as we know, the future for Bless the Hearts isn't very bright. And that may be due to Fox keeping, poorly advertising it. They keep switching the time slots for it, which gets annoying, and stuff like that. I'm not sure why Bless the Hearts isn't fully hitting quite yet. However, I feel like it's one of those shows that hits later throughout time. When you give a show a chance, it will eventually hit. For the most part. The Cleveland Show was pretty much one of those exceptions where it flopped, mainly because the Cleveland Show was just Family Guy, American Dad, or American Dad over again. There was nothing new to it. It was not unique. It was boring, stuff like that. But I feel like these shows can eventually hit if the network just gives them a chance and keeps them on the lineup. Because eventually these will all pay off later in streaming. All these shows do fine in streaming. Bless the Hearts and Duncanville don't have good ratings at all when viewed live. However, they do pretty decent in streaming on Hulu. Bless the Hearts is also on Disney Plus internationally, so I'm sure that will catch on eventually. It just dropped maybe last week, so no one has been talking about it quite yet. But I feel like people will be talking about it quite soon, because when more people discover it and get Disney Plus Star, I feel like the show might be able to blow up eventually. So here we can see that I think Fox is definitely going to look into seeing how this goes before they make a decision on Bless the Hearts. That is just my theory. I think it's in their best interest to not cancel Bless the Hearts quite yet, and that's because we still have a pandemic going on, first of all. While we do have a vaccine, there are mutations of the virus already out there. People have been reporting that, it doesn't work effectively against some variants. So, I feel like the pandemic could possibly get worse. But, I feel like Fox might just put Bless the Hearts on hiatus, instead of canceling it. And then, from there they can decide, if Housebroken flops. I'm hoping none of these shows flop. But if Housebroken for some reason just fails, either critically or the ratings are really bad, even worse than Duncanville and Bless the Hearts, I feel like Fox might cut their losses on Housebroken and then just renew Bless the Hearts for a third season because it had better ratings, and stuff like that. But I have good faith that Housebroken is going to do well on streaming services because Lisa Kudrow is a huge name in comedy. And the people who created Housebroken, one of them worked on The Simpsons before. Classic Simpsons, not modern Simpsons. So, I have good faith in the show. I think it's going to do well. But I'm also hoping that Fox, actually might just put Bless the Hearts on hiatus. And then they can see if the second night does well, they might renew it for a third season and put it on that second night. So we're hoping that instead of them being canceled, because that's the more likely thing, that they put them on hiatus instead. Because once a show is canceled, the network is pretty much 99% of the time they're done with it. Family Guy was a very rare exception. It's a pandemic right now. There aren't a lot of animated series being canceled right now. The only exception is DuckTales, which DuckTales actually planned to end before the pandemic, so that doesn't really count. Big Hero 6 was the same. So, really, the only two shows that ended during the pandemic were the Venture Brothers, but the Venture Brothers also had problems going into the last season, which they never finished. It just was left in limbo. And then Hoops. Hoops was really the only show that was canceled during the pandemic that I know of. And, if your animated show was canceled during the pandemic, then it must have done something really poor. So I think that's why Fox might not be in their best interest to just outright cancel Bless the Hearth. But I think the best solution is to put it on hiatus, see how these things go before they make an actual decision on the show. Because again, I still think the show could use at least one more season to, find their audience and stuff like that, and have more, out there episodes. Because season 2, while I do think it's an improvement, it's still sort of using the same plots, especially for Betty Hart. And I'm kind of not a fan of the repetition, so I feel like if they give them another season, I feel like they could, do more with the character than what they have right now. And I'm hoping that they do get a third season. And same with Duncanville. I'm hoping Housebroken gets a season 2 too. I'm hoping The Great North gets a season 3. I really dig that show. So yeah, I know I went on a little rant, but these are my thoughts on Housebroken, Duncanville, and the future of animation domination later. So anyways, I want to know what you think about these shows. Are you excited for Housebroken? I am, but are you? But let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.